Well, good evening, everyone. We'd like to call our Monday, September 22nd, Fayetteville City Council meeting to order. Welcome. Thank you all for your patience as the City Council was completing some closed session items and put us a little behind on our dinner meeting, but thank you for your patience. Those who are joining us in the audience, we welcome you. Those who are joining us remotely, we welcome you. At this time, as with every meeting, we will start with the invocation. Ask that Rabbi Scott Klein, U.S. Army chaplain, if he could come forth, if everyone could please stand for the prayer. Immediately following the invocation, if we could repeat the Pledge of Allegiance in unity.
Thank you so much,
Rabbi.
Mayor and esteemed members of the City Council. It is a pleasure to be here, especially on this eve of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, which begins this evening. It means literally the head of the new year. And in our tradition, we begin the year 5786. Rosh Hashanah, by the way, is not just a time for celebration. It's the birthday of the world and a period of deep introspection. And for the next 10 days, the Jewish community, which Fayetteville has a very proud and, of course, diverse community and diverse Jewish community, we are called to look inward and examine our deeds from the past year and to make resolutions together with our entire community to be better people in the year to come. This period is a time to renew our commitment to our families, to our neighbors, and to God. And again, finally, the theme of Rosh Hashanah is reflection, repentance, and renewal. It's universal. It's a call to all people, regardless of faith, to seek a better, a more just, a compassionate world. And with that in mind, let's turn our hearts and minds to a moment of prayer for our city and our community. O guardian of all, we stand before you on this solemn eve at the cusp of a new year, 5786, as we prepare for Rosh Hashanah. We're gathered as leaders and citizens of Fayetteville, a city that we cherish, a community we are privileged to serve. At this time of reflection, we're reminded that Rosh Hashanah is not just a holiday for the Jewish people. It's a time for all of humanity to pause and to consider our actions as we look and we stand in humble awe before the Creator. Just as we are called to open the books of our lives, to account for our deeds, to recognize our faults, to resolve to do better, so too we as a city stand before you and we ask for your wisdom, to see our strengths and our shortcomings with clarity, and we pray for the courage to address the challenges that face us. We pray for the ability to listen with open hearts and minds to all the voices in our city. And we pray for our leaders, that they be granted insight and integrity. We pray for our citizens that they may find health, safety, and prosperity. And we pray for the bonds of our community, Lord, that they be strengthened by our acts of kindness, compassion, and justice. May this year be a year of growth, peace, and progress for Fayetteville. May we be inscribed in the book of life, not just as individuals, but as a community. And let us say amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Rabbi, if you could, please, we thank you for giving us the prayer tonight. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Absolutely. I'm joined tonight by my wife, Ellie, and we are originally from Skokie, Illinois, just north of the city of Chicago. But we are proud to be here. As my uniform represents, I am here as an Army chaplain. I am one of 12 active duty Jewish chaplains in the United States Army, and very, very privileged that my first assignment as a chaplain is here on Fort Bragg and in Fayetteville. As a number of members of the City Council and as members of the staff know, immediately got involved in the community, and I have a doctorate in educational leadership, a background in communications and nonprofit management, and very passionate about making this a great place to live, work, and play. So privileged to serve as a chaplain in the 82nd Airborne Division. I always say I think I'm the only rabbi in this country that jumps out of airplanes for a living, which is kind of fun. Yeah, and it's great to call Fayetteville home. We'll be here for at least the next 3-4 years, and as you know from your boards and commissions, I'm already getting involved.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for your service to the country. Thank you for your service to our community, sir.
Thank you
Let's give
so
him a round
much.
of applause.
Thank you.
All right, Councilor, at this time, we'll move to our recognitions. We have Miss Andrea, who is here. She's back with us. Miss Andrea, you back? Just for, oh, man. So those who don't know, Miss Andrea used to be our deputy clerk, and then she left us and went to the county, so we told them about taking our people. But we've got great clerk with Jennifer here, but, you know, I just want to jab at the county a little bit. But you're here tonight for something else. Tell us about it.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for what I'm about to present to the city. I'm here on behalf of the Purple Heart Foundation of North Carolina. Many of you are aware and have attended the annual Purple Heart dinners that happen here out at the Crown. The dinners started about 15 years ago up in Wake Forest, and they've spread across the state. Fayetteville has had the dinner since 2017, only taking COVID off. But since the dinner started here in Fayetteville, the support from the city of Fayetteville has been remarkable. I am truly grateful for the financial support that you have given the dinner each year, but even more than that support, I am truly proud and grateful for the in-person support we receive from the city. Each year, members of city staff and city council have attended the dinner. Not once has someone from the city of Fayetteville not been in attendance to present a proclamation. I have been part of these dinners since 2017, and I will be the chair of the Purple Heart Foundation State Board starting in 2026. And I can share with you words from the current chair, Michael Johnson. He is the gentleman that had the vision for this dinner and started the dinners 15 years ago. He has stated that Cumberland County, specifically Cumberland County and the city of Fayetteville, has been the most supported he has seen in 15 years from local elected officials.
That's fantastic.
And I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would like to present the city of Fayetteville with a small token from the dinner. It is the Purple Heart figure that was also presented to our Purple Heart recipients.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so council, I guess we can take a picture up here, is that good? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be good on my dress.
Come close, y'all.
Yeah, we see it.
And one more.
Yeah, I'll get it. All right, council, as we move to the next item, we'll call on Councilmember Benavente, and we ask Ms. Salvat, in recognition of Hispanic and Latino Month. Ms. Salvat, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it.
No, thank you. Ms. Pili Salvat and, of course, Ms. Carly Escaza, if you can come up as well.
You gonna read it? Or you want to present? All right. All right, you all.
Friends, and we'll turn to the audience.
Councilmember Benavente has a proclamation. It's being presented in honor of Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month, and it reads as follows. Whereas the city of Fayetteville proudly recognizes Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month, observed annually from September 15th to October 15th, as a time to honor the history, culture, and contributions of Hispanic and Latino Americans. And whereas the observance begins September 15th, marking the anniversary of independence from Latin American countries for the Latin American countries of Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, with Mexico and Chile also celebrating their independent days on September 16th and 18th, respectively. Whereas Hispanic and Latino Americans have played a vital role in shaping our nation's culture, economy, arts, science, military, and government, enriching our communities with traditions that strengthen the fabric of our society. Whereas the city of Fayetteville is home to a vibrant and growing Hispanic and Latino population with talents, entrepreneurship, leadership, and service have made invaluable contributions to the social, cultural, and economic vitality of our city. Whereas this month provides an opportunity for all residents to learn more about and celebrate the diverse heritage and lasting legacies of Hispanic and Latino Americans while recommitting ourselves to building an inclusive community that honors diversity and unity. Now, therefore, I, Mitch Colvin, Mayor of the City of Fayetteville, North Carolina, on behalf of the City Council and more than 208,000 citizens, do hereby honorably proclaim September 15th through October 15th in the year of 2025 Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. For people that don't know me, I've served in different boards, always, helping Hispanic. I served one term as the president of Latinos United for Progress. I also work with the governor in the Hispanic board. And in my clinic, we serve about 93% Hispanic patients, and I have been honored to not only be, their therapist, but also I have become a big advocate, and not too long ago, I opened my own foundation to continue to serve the Hispanic community. So it will be very, very, very nice for all city officials to come together and help. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello. First of all, I want to say thank you. She's very modest. I've known Pili for a long time, since Latinos United, and she has always helped anyone, the underserved community, the people that don't have. Every year, I remember she used to collect toys to give to children from households that were undeserved. But I want to take the opportunity to talk about something that's really important, because we know everything that's going on with immigration and the immigrant community. And so I want to take this opportunity. I know that I'm going to be working closely with Mario B., Councilman Mario, to request a proclamation. There's other cities here in North Carolina that have made a proclamation just stating that they stand with the immigrant community. And I would like to request that from the city council and the mayor, if the city of Fayetteville would do a proclamation to stand with our immigrants. Immigrants, we're all immigrants. We all come from immigrants. Unless you're Native American, you're an immigrant. A lot of people will say, do it the right way. What's the right way to do it? There's people being taken with ICE is taking people with documents, residents, people that already have documents. It happened here. We have a patient of ours. We do speech pathology for children with special needs, is what the clinic does at Bilingual Therapy Services. We have a parent that was taken that has political asylum, and he was just taken. So imagine the impact of that child that is special needs, has issues communicating, and doesn't understand where his dad is. And then the mom being alone with a child with special needs. It impacts all of us. I have a friend that you guys might know. She's in the community as well. The house that she bought, before she bought it, there was a Haitian family that lived there. Do you know that ICE was sitting outside of her house watching them? And they sent a pizza, and this is here in Cedar Creek, right here, in our own home. They were watching them, and when her and her granddaughter left, a pizza man approached asking for that man. The only reason she knew that it was her old, the old owner, is because she had been receiving mail when she first moved in there. And apparently so now she's scared. She's African American, her husband is a very dark-skinned African American that could pass as a Haitian. So now she's scared because she's thinking they can come back and take my husband, thinking it's that man. That's how serious it is. It's affecting even Americans that are citizens, that were born here. So I really would like to work with you all to do that, to request that proclamation. It just shows the people that are here that you're with us. You don't have to do anything, but just show us support. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Council, at this time, do have an additional announcement. I'll go to Councilmember Hare.
Hey, there we go. Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to ask for us to continue to send out our prayers to our city manager. Many of you, some of you may know that he had a loss in his family. And many of us today went down, to include our mayor, went down to be with him as we did a home celebration for his mom. And so we all know how it is when we lose someone that we love dear, especially even though we are older, mamas and daddies, and they still are dear to us. So I ask on behalf of the city, and the mayor has allowed me to do this, just to continue to pray for our city manager, Mr. Hewitt, and his family as they go through this time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah. Certainly, again, to echo Councilmember Hare, we thank you and prayers out to Mr. Hewitt and his family and the loss of his mother. Councilmember Benavente.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to remind everybody that one of Fayetteville's best events, the 47th Annual International Folk Festival, is this coming Saturday. There will be a kickoff downtown right outside the Arts Council at 9 a.m. And, of course, there will be an incredible number of vendors and everything going around the city well throughout the afternoon. So please feel free to participate. Fayetteville truly is a city of nations, and that's no better exemplified than during our International Folk Festival. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, council will move from the announcements and recognitions to the city manager's report. Mr. Yates, who's filling in for Mr. Hewitt.
I am. Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of additional items. On Wednesday at 10 a.m. at the Linear Park, we have the unveiling of the Beth Finch Monument. On Thursday evening at FTCC at 6:30, we'll be doing a Fayetteville out front, and we'll be talking about working for the city and the benefits, and have several representatives from some of our departments there to speak with possible candidates and so forth. And then just a reminder, this weekend is also 4th Friday, so lots and lots to do and going on in the city. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mayor.
Absolutely, thank you. Council, moving to 6.0, the approval of the agenda. If we could entertain a motion to approve, and we'll clear that other item that Ms. Kelly wanted once we get down to consent.
So move.
All right, motion by Councilmember Hondros, seconded by Councilmember Green, and we'll go to our sure system, guys. And we do have Councilmember Banks McLaughlin on the line. So, Council, we'll look to you for your vote on agenda approval. Councilmember Banks McLaughlin?
Good afternoon, Green.
Green. All right, who we miss? That's his 8. Oh, okay, yeah. All right. Council, moving to 7.0, the consent. There was a request, once this is passed, to, I guess, Madam Attorney, do we need to separate 7.0A4 and then do it one at a time? Because she wants to take off the first portion of that. Or can we do it all with the exception of that one particular address?
We can move to approve with the exception of that address.
All right. So, Council, I look to you for a motion. Councilmember Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I motion we approve the agenda with the exception of 781 Richardson Avenue.
Is a motion by Councilmember Thompson to approve consent with the exception of 781 Richardson Avenue in District 7, seconded by Councilmember Hare. Any discussion? Bless you. All right. Council, I look to you for your votes.
Green.
All right. Councilman Banks McLaughlin is green. All right. That motion carries. Unanimous. All right. Moving to the public hearing items. This time we are preparing to hold hearings where the City Council formally seeks your input. Individuals designed to speak in the hearing must have signed up to speak with the city clerk by name and address before the start of tonight's meeting. We begin with staff presentation, then we'll move into formal hearings. 15 minutes will be allowed for those in favor and those opposed of the item. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, unless by previous arrangement a single spokesperson is designated, in which case the spokesperson may use the entire 15 minutes. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium and clearly state your name and address for the record. You may then begin addressing the council. When the light changes from green to amber, it means you have 30 seconds remaining. And when the light turns red, that means your allotted time has expired. And at this point, I'll stop. Ms. Keisha, how are you?
Doing wonderful, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. The city received a petition to close an unopened street known as Low Street. North Carolina General Statute gives the procedure and authority for the city to do so. The property has been posted for 30 days, and for 4 consecutive weeks it was advertised for this public hearing in the paper. No utilities or emergency response times will be affected by the closure. Closing the street will allow for the surrounding properties to be developed, and there will be no property access denied by closing the street. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't see any. All right, so. All right, so with that, I'll open the public hearing, Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we have one speaker, Mr. David Sykes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is David Sykes. I live at 113 Pompton Drive, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28314. I will defer any of my time for any questions. I am in proposed, this property is owned by my late mother, who passed away last Monday, and so I am for
Sorry to hear
this.
about.
Thank you, sir.
And you said you are a proponent for it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Council, any questions for Mr. Sykes? All right, Council, I entertain a motion to, Ms. Keisha, I guess we can, Madam Clerk, any other speakers?
No, sir, there's no further speakers.
All right, Ms. Sykes, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, we're sorry for the loss of your mother. All right, so with that, I'll close the public hearing. Council, I'll go to you for action. Councilmember Green.
I'd like to make a motion that we close Low Street.
All right.
Second.
All right, is a motion by Councilmember Green, seconded by Councilmember Hondros. Discussion on that motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you for your votes. All right, Councilmember
Green.
Banks McLaughlin?
Green.
All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Keisha. All right, Council, moving to the next item, 8.02, consideration of renaming 5 streets affected by the I-295. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Mr. Chester.
Hi, Chester Green from Planning Development Services. So this item is for naming of 5 streets affected by I-295. Cumberland County staff requested to rename the following 5 streets. The realignment of Century Circle to Midship, the bisected Strickland Road to Crestwick, portion of Barefoot Road to Chadstone Road, portion of Strickland Bridge Road to Brinkman Road, and a portion of Unick Drive to Bellhop Drive, all with which are in the city limits of Fayetteville. Staff has determined that the requested renamings of these 5 streets meet the criteria for approval. I have a couple of, I don't know if I'm, hold on, sorry.
I don't know where they get them from.
Couple of slides. This is the first area of the number street for 510. This is 511, another section of the street. Most of them have very few properties that are affected by it, but this is 512, 513, and then 514. All of these streets were severed due to the I-95 highway project, necessitating a need to rename the streets based on with the county, with the implementation of new Gen E911 standards. Cumberland County cannot have 2 streets with the same name within the same fire response zone in order to promote efficient emergency services. The county property owners were notified and given the opportunity to input on respective roads. County has evaluated the petitions and found any conflicts or duplications with the proposed names and recommends that approval of the name changes. And if you have any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Green. Councilmember Thompson, you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Chester. I like and I appreciate the renaming of the streets. I know it's necessary when you have a dividing of a street due to the 295, whether it's Strickland Bridge Road or Barefoot Road, or even Century Road, which is a concern of mine. But the only question I have is the portion of the roads, mainly Century Road, that was divided. Did DOT give them a stipend for what it would cost them to get their addresses and everything else changes on all the documents that they need?
I don't know. I don't deal, I mean, the county, DOT severed the roads, so the county just, has to rename them because of the E911, but they handle everything. They handle contacting the owners and,
Well,
give the
I seen where they
names, but I don't-
contacted the owners and asked them for their input on what the
Yeah.
names of the
I don't-
streets
I don't know
was
the
and
answer to that
who they
question.
contacted, the whole 9 yards. But being a retired mailman, I know the cost of having to change your address. So my question is how do we give these individuals a stipend so the cost is not coming out of their pocket because they had no control whether or when 295 was going to come through their street? So how do we get that information?
I mean, we can try to contact DOT, but I don't even know. I can ask the county
Mr.
and
Mayor,
see
do
who
we
the
contact
contact
Mr.
is.
Barksdale to find out the answer to this question, or how do we go about it?
Sure, I'm all for that. I mean, or, that could be something that if council is okay with approving this with contingencies or directions for Mr. Green or the city manager to do that, yeah.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and make a motion that
Okay.
we go ahead and hold the public hearing for the renaming of these streets.
Well, let me close the public hearing, see if I.
You never opened it.
Oh, I didn't know. All right. we got ahead of ourselves, didn't we? All right, so I'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, we have any speakers?
There's no speakers, sir.
All right, so I'm gonna close the public hearing. I'll go back to you, Councilmember Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion that we go ahead and hold the public hearing to approve the request of renaming these streets and ask that staff get in contact with somebody from DOT to see what could be done about the cost of these individuals that have to change their address.
Okay.
No, we have to hold.
Who are we looking to
We have to
absorb
hold
the
public
cost?
hearing.
DOT?
It has to be DOT, Mr. Mayor. It's not going to be the city, and it's not going to be the county.
Okay.
DOT asked for the changing of the streets because of the DOT project. County is the one that gave them the names of the streets. So the city has nothing to do with it. This is in the city. We're the ones that have to approve it.
I don't know. I think it runs down, not up, but okay,
Well,
we'll ask.
I can only ask, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so let me just get this motion. Is there a second? Councilmember Thompson's motion. All right, second by Mayor Pro Tem. All right, question, Councilmember Hare.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Chester, if you would, please, and I was trying to find it while I was looking through my CAM, how many homes or businesses, because I do understand the motion, will be affected by these name changes?
No businesses.
Shouldn't be any bit, yeah. There was, 4 property owners on, I'm trying to see, 5, 10, 8 property owners, 511 was 4 property owners, 512, 13, 513 was 12, 514 was 5. What I don't know the answer to is I think a lot of those property, I don't know how many actual structures there are out there for renaming. I don't,
So you're saying they are property owners of property owners of the land if it's developed or undeveloped?
Yes.
Okay, and so I understand. I could go along with at least having the public hearing. Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, so this is the public hearing, so now we'll have a motion on the floor to approve it, but the direction is to ask NCDOT if there are any reimbursements for the inconveniences that will occur from the name change that was requested. So, question, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Assistant City Manager Yates, and I don't know if I'm thinking, do we not have a sign shop?
Oh, I know what my question is.
Yes, ma'am.
And we make street signs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, all right. So I think we might need to just take that part back because we have the shop that we do our
I think
street
the
sign.
cost was for them that they're gonna incur personally to make changes to address, driver's license, all those kind of things.
Mayor,
Okay,
I know my question now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this was, what- Mr. Chester, this is what my question was. Whenever we do, team,
Yeah, hey, Councilmember Benavente.
thank you, guys.
You stop, okay? Councilmember here.
Thank you, sir. Notices. Whenever we do this type of thing, just like when we do zonings or some planning concerns or issues are getting ready to happen in the neighborhood or on the street, we put out a notice, we put out a strict notice, and everything within 1,000 feet receives a letter of what's getting ready to take place. As far as this particular item goes with renaming, what is the process for notifying or notices going out to property owners?
So the county handles all of that. So for these, so they sent an original notice to all the property owners with some options for the name, informing them that they needed to get a new name, asked for feedback from them on which name they would like. They didn't get a lot of responses back, but a few responded for some of the ones. And then once they got that back, they bring it to me, they send it to us for us to do this public hearing. And then they send out a letter to each one of the property owners informing them that there's a public hearing tonight, and then we advertise in the paper that there's a public hearing tonight.
Okay, and we are aware, I really don't want to prolong this, but I understand the question because it has been submitted once before. So are we aware of how many folk or if those folk actually were notified and there was a response of any kind, or did the letter just like, hey, return to sender or something along that line? Did that information come back from the county?
Yeah, so on the first one, I'd have to look. There's 4 property owners were notified, and they said the decisive vote was for Crestwick. I don't know how many of the 4, but at least a few of them responded back. Same thing with when looking at I saw all the letters, and then some of them had 2 or 3 that responded. Some of them had probably no more than a few for each one, but we did get they get responses back on all of them, meaning that the letters at least got to.
All right, thank you. Thank you,
the
Mayor.
property owners.
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I may, if we could separate the two, I can support part of the motion, but I can't support all of it. So
All right.
if you want to
so-
support the DOT requirement,
All right.
I'd be more than happy to.
All right. So
I still have a question on this
Which
motion.
part wouldn't you support? I'm confused.
The approval of the road closures, no problem. I can support that. The requesting reimbursement from DOT, while it is a inconvenience, without businesses being involved, there's not a whole lot of cost besides changing an ID, so I can't support that.
Okay. Well, Mr. Mayor, I can amend my motion. Let me just give some more clarity. Most of these houses are in rural areas. We're not talking no more than maybe 40 houses out of the 4 projects. Most of the projects are just buildings, and some people don't even live in the buildings. I just know that there's a cost to changing your roads. I can ask the individuals, or the individuals can always ask me how they go about getting reimbursement for DOT for the name change. It is part, let me rephrase that, it should be a part of their requirement. Anytime DOT wants to take something from you, i.e. whether they want to take property for expansion of Camden Road, they give you a stipend because they're taking something from you. The same thing should be affecting, though they're taking away your previous name and giving you a new one. There is still a cost that's inherited with that change. So I would say, okay, Mr. Mayor, we will go ahead and approve the name change, and I'll go to a separate vote for the stipend for the payment.
All right. Who was the second on that original motion?
That was me.
So
and
y'all
I would-
okay with the
I'm
friendly
okay
amendment?
with that,
All right.
yes.
All right.
yes.
So Councilman Benavente, and then we'll vote on the motions you have.
Well, I think it's still on this topic. If it's not that many people and it's not that huge of a cost, has there ever been any history of our city staff just kind of noticing those folks to reach out to the city and us being able to sort of tabulate, like open for 30 days, and then if in 30 days out of the 40 some odd people that you said were potentially being affected, that we calculate that ultimately we're talking about $400, we're talking about $1,000, and that's something nominal that the city can just sort of address ourselves at that point, whether you needed city council approval or not. Is that any
So
past
is your question for if DOT refuses?
No. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I think this would be, if the true underlying concern is that there is some number of those 40 some odd people that are going to be encumbered or, made to pay something that through no fault of their own are now being expensed. How much money are we really talking? I mean, Mr. Thompson, you said that, from your time working for the United States Postal Service, would it cost more than a couple $100 to get all this done?
I don't believe it costs more than $200.
Right. So 200, and out of those 40, not all of them are developed properties. And then some of those people probably will say it's more trouble than it's worth to get that $200. So I think we're talking about a very small number that DOT is going to not pay attention to. But us as a city, if it truly matters to us, we can create some sort of process at this point. As simple as saying, we'll send a postcard, get back to us in the next 30 days, and we'll reimburse you. And we'll see how many get back to us in 30 days. Has that ever been done previously?
Not that I know of. I mean, the county handles almost all of this, so we don't normally talk to any of the residents. We just get information from the county and bring it here on their behalf.
Thank you, sir. That was all I was talking to Councilmember Thompson about, was that if there was a true interest there, I think that might be a solution, but it sounds like there might be a separate motion for that.
All right, so council, there's a motion on the floor to agree to honor the request that's been made to change. That's the only thing we're voting on now, and we'll come back on the subsequent motion. All right, I'll look to you for your votes. Councilmember Banks McLaughlin?
Green.
Okay, motion carries unanimous. Madam Clerk. All right, next motion on the floor is...
If I
you
can
wanna
clarify,
repeat
Mr.
that?
Mayor. Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. I don't have no problem doing that. I will motion that I will contact, or I'll have staff contact somebody from DOT, preferably Mr. Dwayne Barksdale, to figure out how we can... Andrew Barksdale, to figure out how we can go ahead and remedy this situation. If not, we'll contact the county, see if they have a solution. If not, we'll bring it back to city council in a closed session, not a closed session, in a work session to figure out how we move forward.
Okay. All right, there's a motion by Councilmember Thompson as stated. Is there a second? Seconded by Benavente. All right, council, we've discussed it. I see no more questions. Let's vote.
Green.
All right, that motion is what, 7-8? Yeah, who's this? Okay, a motion carries 8-2. Somebody voted instead of, we only have 9 people voting, so who voted that shouldn't have voted?
No, that's right.
Oh.
Got 8.
Okay, all right,
And then
yeah.
Courtney.
But I'm saying, they're saying, okay, got it. All right, so motion carries. Those voting in opposition was Councilmember Green and Hondros. All right, council, moving to, thank you, Mr. Green. Moving to the next item, 8.03. City of Fayetteville is requesting initial zoning for planned neighborhood development to conditional. Mr. Harmon, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
So as you recall, last month, you did an annexation of a piece of property owned by the city of Fayetteville, but used by PWC on Carvers Falls Road, a little over 40 acres. At that time, you did not zone the property, so we have up to 60 days after that annexation to do so. And so that's what we're back here tonight for. Again, the applicant for this is PWC. They're the project owner. This is an initial zoning from the county's planned neighborhood development, P&D, to a conditional community commercial zoning district. This is on the southern side of Carvers Falls Road, approximately at 430 Carvers Falls, and some unaddressed areas out there. Oops. This just shows you where the 40 acres is located. If you go to your left on Carvers Falls, just off of this map would be Ramsey Street. And then this area here is the zip line recreation area at Carvers Falls. Again, the zoning map, this is unzoned. The rest of the stuff outlined in the red is what's in the city limits currently. Our land use plan at the moment calls for low-density residential on this area, with this kind of pinkish area being a community center area, more commercial and multifamily associated with the interstate, which you can kind of see just barely here to the top and right of the photo coming across. A couple of photos of the property. There is an existing PWC substation on the property. That's where the address of 430 comes from. The second picture is kind of around the curve of Carvers Falls, and it's just looking at this property again, just showing the type of vegetation that's there. These are some of the surrounding properties. It is a fairly rural area once you get to this section of Carvers Falls at this point. This is a site plan that was part of your packet. You will see a updated site plan when PWC does their presentation here in a little bit. The people that are in opposition have had access to that as well as us, but not a whole lot of time. I think we both got this today. The new one, you will see some additional buffering that is in here as well to augment some of the areas where the taller trees would be able to see into the property. What you have here, this gray area, would be an undisturbed 100-foot buffer. So they would keep all of those tall trees that you saw and then augment in some more ground coverage so that you can't see as well into the property. So the current conditions that have been offered for this is one, that it be used as a solar energy generation facility, or as our UDO just calls it, a major utility. The second thing would be a series of conditions they've put forward to help mitigate the off-site impacts. So there will be security fencing around the 35 acres where the solar farm is. The preservation of a natural tree buffer around the perimeter with added streetscape and landscaping screening. Establishment and maintenance of that 100-foot undisturbed vegetative buffer with disturbance only allowed for necessary entrances and emergency access and utility crossings into the property. And the use of minimal downward directing lighting to reduce any glare or light spill. Operations would remain passive on the site with very limited human presence outside of periodic inspections. The last little note is the condition for the additional shrubs, which the new site plan that PWC will show you tonight has those. So just a few other little quick things, some issues and analysis. And a few years ago, PWC started looking at this project. It did go before the county. It was denied at the county back in May. It's come as you know, as an annexation last month to you, and now as the zoning for this project now. Let's see. So TRC, they have done a preliminary review through TRC. The key requirements through that were some of the basic things that come along with a project like this, like a life safety access, which would have what's called a Knox box entry system so that fire and emergency services could get into the property if need be. That the major utility is going to be set back 100 feet and with security fencing up to 8 feet tall. That the landscaping and lighting, PWC coordinated plans and qualified landscaping plans and photometric plans will help maintain the continuous screening out there. And then stormwater and erosion that you'll notice on their site plans as they present them as well. There are 4 different detention ponds on the property to help with mitigating any stormwater runoff or erosion issues there. Military compatibility, RULAC has received these plans and confirms that their prior glare study that was done with Fort Bragg found no issues with this type of solar panels. And at this point, the budget impact would be very negligible since this would be a PWC operation. The recommendation from staff is for approval of the conditional rezoning to community commercial conditional zoning. And you'll see in your information why we have put that forward. The Zoning Commission, however, did deny this project at their last meeting, and PWC did submit a application for an appeal application, and that's why it's here with you tonight as well. So, Mr. Mayor and Board, that's all we have for our presentation at this time. If you'd hold any of your questions of staff till after the public hearing, be glad to answer any at that time.
All right, Mr. Harmon, thank you. With that, we will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we have 9 speakers in favor and 9 speakers in opposition. Our first speaker is Mr. Tim Bryant.
There you go.
Good evening, Mr. Bryant.
Good evening, Council. Timothy Bryant, Fayetteville, PWC, 955 Old Wilmington Road. And again, Commissioners, I want to take a few moments to provide some feedback relative to PWC's position on this project and then yield the balance of my time to respond to any questions from yourselves or anyone else for that matter. And again, you've already seen primarily why we're here, Council. And again, PWC did bring this forward to Council recently and have these parcels annexed into the city. And again, the purpose of that, again, this is from our position, this is the right location to build solar. We already have an existing transformer substation on this property. It's been there better part of 13 years. And again, over the last several years, we acquired 3 additional parcels to build out a proposed solar site on this parcel. In these details, again, on the right side of the screen, you'll see this site map, and I'll address that in a moment. But again, North Carolina back in 2007 established a renewable energy portfolio standard that requires PWC to deliver at least 10% of our energy from renewable sources, and that's why we're building this solar at this location. PWC needs to build about 25 megawatts of solar to comply with the REP standard, and again, we have 5 projects on the ground or in planning at this time for about 17 megawatts, but we need about 25 megawatts within the next 10 years. And as staff mentioned, you can see here the 100-foot buffer, but behind this 100-foot buffer, PwC has offered, as we talked to the adjacent neighbors, and conceded to build additional rows of very dense foliage to ensure that this property is buffered throughout the year and not just during the summertime when the more foliage is on the ground. Additionally, again, I'll speak to these storm ponds momentarily as well. But I want to talk to the benefits of this project beyond the fact that we have to comply with the REP standard. As you all know, PwC, we serve about 86,000 or more than 86,000 electric customers across the city of Fayetteville, and we still maintain some of the lowest rates among the state, within the state. All of our solar investments, as well as those investments by our customers with rooftop solar, it minimizes the amount of energy that we have to purchase from Duke Energy. As a result, there's a direct financial impact and a direct customer savings for every megawatt or kilowatt of solar we can put on the ground. This proposed Carver's Fall solar energy farm, again, it minimizes the renewable energy credits that PwC must buy currently to comply with the REP standard. And again, right now, PwC is spending about $2 million per year to comply with the REP standard because we don't have enough solar on the ground to meet that 10% threshold. Carver's Fall Solar, again, we have an opportunity here to save customers another $3 million on this project by leveraging a 30% federal tax incentive. And again, it's imperative, again, from our perspective, to save customers money any way we can. And lastly, in a benefit to all customers, this project will bring about $245,000 annually to the city of Fayetteville by increasing the payment in lieu of taxes. So again, that mitigates any potential tax increases to customers.
Mr. Bryan, I think now this is a public hearing, so is it 15 minutes each side or 30 minutes each side? Or it's 3 minutes per?
Mr. Bryant, is everyone on proponents yielding their time to you?
Yes, they are.
And then he said he'll save the balance of it to the end. Yeah, okay, for
Then
questions.
yes, I can set it for 12 minutes.
Okay.
And I won't take that long. It benefits to all the customers, all the adjacent neighbors. Again, solar, there are no residential development for the next 30 years. We're going to lock up this land for 30 plus years. There are no added cars on the road. There are no noise. There are no nighttime activities or lights. There's no new infrastructure that needs to be built for this solar project. There's no new roads. There's no new schools. There's no new utilities associated with this project. It meets all regulatory compliance requirements as communicated before. And again, we have reached out to the 4 primary adjacent customers or adjacent neighbors to this project, and they have some concerns, and we've addressed each one of those concerns. The first one being stormwater runoff. We have installed 4 retention ponds throughout the east, northeast, and south side of the project to keep all stormwater runoff on our property. The viewshed concerns, as I mentioned, we're going to put an additional row of fast-growing evergreens on the back side of this 100-foot buffer to mitigate any concerns around viewshed for this project. You can see an example of these Nelly hollies that will be built on site. You will not see these, the solar farm, just as you can't see this house behind these mature shrubs. There was concerns around noise. These solar fields, they have inverters, and these inverters, which you see in the photograph, they emit about 60 decibels of noise about 3 feet away. That's the sound of a refrigerator that's properly working, or a conversation like we're having right now. And this project is well within the City of Fayetteville noise ordinance. Traffic concerns, again, we address traffic concerns. There's only one access point that will be on the parcel. And again, after the project is built, there will not be any additional traffic except perhaps quarterly, with the technician performing quarterly maintenance on the property. So, Council, thank you for your unanimous vote to annex this property before, and we thank staff's recommendation to approve this project. Thank you. Yield to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Councilman Maher.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Bryant, thank you for bringing this item to
Please
us.
answer the question.
As I look at the diagram, even the one that you proposed, but also the one that Mr. Harmon put up, the dark gray boundary that goes all the way around the property to, I assume this, the opening is the entrance and the exit of the proposed farm. Is that already in existence? You said it's a natural wooded area. Is this dark?
This dark shaded 100-foot buffer is an undisturbed buffer that PwC has agreed to maintain in place.
And it exists today?
It exists today.
Okay. Then my next question, and fantastic for that because I like buffers. This 100, well, I'm not exactly sure what the footage was, but this little small dotted line that lays directly in front of this gray undeveloped border, this is additional buffering of these type trees that you said you all are going to plant there, or are you going to?
So on the interior side where my mouse is, or the cursor is, this is where the additional shrubs will be planted on the interior side of the 100-foot buffer. So inside of 100-foot, we're going to add another series of rows of bushes on the interior side along the road to further mitigate any viewshed concerns for the project.
Okay, and I like the project, I like what I'm hearing, but just for me, because I'm big into buffers and separating those, whenever that additional shrubbery is put in, is that full-grown shrubbery, or is that bushes that are going to grow up?
So what we're proposing are what's called Nellie Stevens shrubs, and these are fast-growing shrubs. They grow on an average of 3 feet per year. They mature at about 20 feet.
Okay.
So you're talking about over the course of about 5 years, they're going to be fully mature, and they will undergird the pines that are generally within that 100-foot buffer. That's what I'm saying. You will not see this project once the bushes reach maturity.
And I do appreciate what I'm hearing. I'm glad to hear about the solar farm with the electricity and whatnot. What benefit does, because I know we have some, and I've seen them whenever I'm traveling, help me understand, and maybe some others, just how beneficial solar farms are versus, I guess, regular electricity, okay? You know what I mean? So
in the case of this project,
yes, sir.
What makes this project critical for PwC? We have to comply with the state-mandated renewable energy portfolio standard. And because the size of PwC system is about 500 megawatts, PwC can't build a single 25 megawatt or 30 megawatt solar site somewhere around the perimeter of the city of Fayetteville for a couple of reasons. Number one, all the good sites are gone. In 2007, when the REP standard became law, all the developers and everyone else around this area across North Carolina, they went out and found the cheap, easily accessible sites. That's why we haven't built anything here yet. But we are now looking, and we have to comply with this requirement. Otherwise, we'll continue to spend on an order of about $2 million per year to meet a standard that we really should be funding ourselves to give the customers full benefit of having clean energy, but at the same time mitigating our expenses on the other side of the ledger.
Thank you, sir. I like what I hear. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, so we got Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Jensen, McNair, and Green. And then, Council, I want to remind you, we still need to have the opponents open it up for them and allow them to do it, and then we'll ask Mr. Bryant to hang out. So we'll run through these questions, and then I just thought you all had one or two, but
I can wait.
okay. All right, Councilmember Green. Okay, Councilmember Green.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Mine's a quick question. Mr. Bryant, can you, you may or may not know, it may be different timeframes. How did PwC acquire the property? Was the property on the market? Did you reach out to the owners?
So the property was on the market. It was for sale. And again, with the fact that we were looking for parcels near where we already have existing transformers and or substations and transmission going through, this particular parcel we saw on the market, and we acquired it about 2 years ago.
Okay.
All right.
Wait.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Don't get too far. We do have need the opponents. This time, Madam Clerk.
All right, Mayor, our first speaker is Mr. Ed Badgett.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Fine, Dandy. I'm here to oppose this project primarily because of drainage. If y'all were around during Matthew, which I'm sure you were, you know what the drainage issue is. Now, he's talking about stormwater runoff and corrosion. but it's flat land. It's just flat as flat can be. There is no runoff. It just hits and stays. Talking about retention ponds, well, the definition of retention is hold it. We're talking about drainage. Drainage means get rid of it. So he's gonna hold, it just doesn't make sense to me. You know, when the city zoning commission, met, the engineer got up and said, hey, we're going to, we're going to increase drainage by 20%. I'm saying, how can you cover 40 acres of land and reduce that, and reduce drainage? You can't. I mean, maybe he could, but I don't know how he does it. That was my concern. Drainage was my number one concern. The other thing is, you guys could be famous. You just said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to build a solar farm. We're going to put it over all our parking, city buildings, PWC buildings, yeah, all their parking lots everywhere. That would be more than 40 acres, I do believe. And that's just the way I feel. Oh, by the way, I own the golf range across the street from this place, to put you in perspective of my complaint. My place is between their land and the river. I got from the road to the river. So I'm open for questions. I don't know if you got any. It's just my concern.
So what I would say is each one of the opponents will be given up to 3 minutes, and if you could, we'll call you up for questions once the council gets to that point. So if you have anything else to add.
Am I done with my 3 minutes?
No, you still have a minute. Minute, 2 seconds.
I relinquish my minute.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, Madam Clerk.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Callan Bryan.
Good evening, Mr. Bryan.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Appreciate your time tonight. I have 3 words that I want you to think about when we talk about this property. It's rural, residential, and recreational. And again, I'm Callan Bryan. We're at 533 Carvers Falls Road. You might have heard of ZipQuest. And we want to share some reasons why we think this rezoning should not move forward in considering some of the long-term consequences. This has been planned to be a green corridor for a long time. Again, it was in the county hands. The county recognized that and denied the zoning. Then there was a quiet annexation that occurred. We learned about it from a reporter when they called us up and asked us what we thought about it. And then like lightning, a zoning commission hearing happened, and now a city council hearing, all within a week of each other. So no one can accuse you guys of moving like a glacier because it's going fast. So I do have one question. I'd like to pause my time for a moment. On the packet that came out tonight, it says that the zoning to be considered is high industrial, and I don't think that's what was posted and noticed, and I think that's changed. And I'd like some clarification on what we're actually hearing. So the very first page on the application, it describes this as.
Mr. Mayor, can we get a point of information on that from Mr. Harmon? Thank you.
Sure.
I believe, so he may be referring to what went out with the zoning commission. The one that went out tonight should be correct.
What time?
I mean, the one that went out last week for tonight, for tonight's meeting.
Yeah, I just clicked on this a minute ago, and it's heavy industrial.
Yeah, I don't know what it's showing up in your packets. It should show up as community commercial being in the application and in the.
I'm looking at the first page of the application, written description of request.
You're saying at the bottom where it says the subject property is proposed to be rezoned from planned neighborhood development to heavy industrial under conditional zoning request?
Yes, Mayor.
Mr. Harmon, do you see what he's referring to?
No, I don't have a copy of the packet, and
Madam Clerk, how can we?
So at the top of the application was amended to be community commercial conditional zoning. That's what the advertisement was for as well.
But you have a discrepancy on our cam, so what went out? You want to come see what we're talking
Yeah,
about?
let me,
Yeah.
that was but if you see at the top, the proposed conditional zoning up here is the CCCZ. It's not changed in that second part. Should have been amended as well.
All right, Madam Attorney, is that you have any procedural issues there?
That sounds like maybe an error on the application that the applicant could possibly speak to in terms of the amendment. Mr. Harmon is saying there was an amendment to the application. Maybe the applicant can confirm that?
Applicant being PwC?
Yeah, it was amended to the CCCZ.
Right, to CCCZ, but not to any industrial.
Industrial was what the original application said, and it was amended to the other.
I think a statement from the applicant regarding what the applicant is requesting would be sufficient.
All right, so Mr. Bryan, you can go ahead. You have Mr. Bryan versus Bryant. I'll stick around, Mr. Tim, if we have questions. But yes, sir, you still have a minute 32.
Can I get 30 seconds back?
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
a valid point.
Appreciate it. I guess my point is that it's hard to prepare for these meetings when they happen so fast and things change, including what was in your packet. We did receive we were emailed about an hour before this meeting, a new site plan. So it's just difficult under these circumstances to be able to prepare for these types of meetings. The city's future land use map designates this area as low density residential, and the application acknowledges that it's not consistent with this request. At the consistency and reasonableness statement goals that are listed on the application, all were determined to be inconsistent, all were determined to be unreasonable according to the city's zoning board. Every single one of them. They made a point of listing out each one of these and identifying why they believed it was inconsistent and unreasonable. The zoning commission didn't buy the logic that was being presented. I hope this commission or this board does not buy that either. The military has not approved it. I think the language on the slide was written in a way that said it was going to be approved, or they believed it would be approved, but it has not been approved. That might be important to consider. So I want to move on to another area here. The reasonableness of this is ZipQuest is where we have our property. It is the home of the largest waterfall on the east coast of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. And I do have a speaker who's going to give me a few minutes of their time, if I may continue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which speaker is that, sir?
East and Bryan.
Would you like to give all 3 of your minutes, sir? Yes. Okay, thank you.
The largest waterfall on the east coast of North Carolina, South Carolina, or Virginia is in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It might be hard to believe in the Sandhills, but it's 20 feet long, and the last time I measured it is 130 feet wide. That is significant. All the way up to all the way up past Charlotte is in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And my son Will here has a copy of the North Carolina Visitors Magazine. Over 500,000 of these were printed. And if we could pass these out, I know we didn't understand we had to do that beforehand. Look at page 77. This is that waterfall on this page. The state of North Carolina recognizes this as very important for the state of North Carolina. The Commerce Department, who produced this, recognizes it as important. Fayetteville Visitors Bureau realizes how many tourism dollars come in from this. And this project is going to be the first thing that they see when they come in. And I do appreciate some of the things that they've done, but it's, I believe, inadequate. So I hope everybody gets a copy of that. Also, something that has not been mentioned, and I think is very important, Carver's Creek in this area, and I don't have a good map of this, but most of that area back there is supposed to be part, Will, would you hand this to the clerk? Of the Carvers Creek State Park. It had been on a master plan for over 15 years, multiple versions of this. And even very recently, they, just a few years ago, produced a land protection plan that includes most of this property and the subject property as a buffer property that they need to buy and protect. So the future expansion of Carvers Creek Park, and I spoke to the Deputy Director of Natural Resources today, and they are very interested in keeping this corridor green as possible because they recognize that this waterfall is the crown jewel of this state park. And the impression that it might leave with somebody coming in from out of town, that might be the only thing they see of Fayetteville. So we think it's worth protecting. There's also a parcel right next to this, or very close to it, owned by the Sandhills Area Land Trust. They bought that in anticipation of a state park being put there in the future. The other part I want to mention is today the area is silent, other than the sound of a waterfall when you get close enough to it. You know, that's part of the character of this area. A utility scale inverter, they're not silent. 70, 80 decibels, that's louder than a vacuum cleaner. Never heard the refrigerator one, but, you know, and there are engineers who will say, well, that's quiet for an inverter. But when it's not silent, we think that's a concern. We think the trade-off is a few hundred houses on a sunny day versus a long-term asset for Fayetteville. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. David Miller.
Okay.
Mr. David Miller? Okay, not present. Our next speaker is Mr. William Vick.
I'm torn whether to bring this laptop with me or not. It may be in the way. I'm William Vick. I moved to the property 653 Carver Falls Road 24 years ago. I'm practiced medicine here for 21 years, retired there. I sat on the North Central Area Land Use Plan Steering Committee that terminated last year and presented a land use plan for North Central Cumberland County stretching up toward Linden, including the property that we're discussing. This is, I'm sure everybody's aware of what the land use plan is.
Mr. Vick, can you speak into the mic?
Sorry. I'm sure everybody's aware of what the land, I was speaking of the land use plan and that I sat on that committee, the steering committee that formulated the plan, and it's posted on the web that is accessible to anybody. I'm sure the council has access to that and aware of it. The North Central Land Use Plan, if you look at page 37, designates this land as open space. The definition of open space I was going to read, but it essentially is open. Well, it's closed to any development. You take the land, you keep it in its natural habitat. You don't do anything with it. The concept of a buffer zone around open space, to me, is somewhat of an oxymoron. Open space is the same thing. Carvers Creek State Park is also discussed in that plan on page 59 to 62. I think if you look at the land use plan, the city is going to be sending a wrong message by stripping the land near a river, such as the Cape Fear. It may seem like a small project to you, but it's not. It establishes a precedent for stripping land near a major river. Eventually, somebody looking to do the same thing, but for a larger parcel of land, may rely on what this committee, what this council recommended as a precedent for it. And I urge everybody in charge of it, step back and look at the bigger picture. How do you want your people in the future, your children, grandchildren, to see the river? You want it to be something that's developed. I'm not worried about runoff. I'm worried about things like transpiration from the trees, what trees do to the land. They hold the soil in. They keep it from draining, eroding. They do biochemical processes that yield things to the air. They give shelter to wildlife. You cannot reproduce that. You cannot take what God made and reproduce it in a way that it's going to do the same thing. You certainly can't strip it bare and put solar panels there. Open space should be amenable to having trails go through it where you preserve the landscape. Solar panels don't do that.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mayor. Our next speaker is Mr. Jackson Farrell. Mr. Jackson Farrell. Not present. Next speaker is Mr. Russ Bryan.
Good evening, Mr. Bryan.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Thank you for the time. My name is Russ Bryan. Our property address is 533 Carvers Falls Road. As he mentioned, we own the property out there where ZipQuest is located. I'm technically the chief adventure officer out there. And I wanted to speak to a few things. First of all, our family is really focused on preservation. My father, who's back here in the blue shirt, he purchased that property for the purposes of preservation 62 years ago. And my brothers and I have carried that torch and tried to maintain that green space and the unique and special waterfall area that we have out there for future generations. It's one reason we have a zip line. It's because we can utilize that land, and if we can take all that down and you won't know a zip line ever existed. But the natural beauty is preserved in perpetuity. So I will say that we've gone a long route with this solar farm for the last 10 months. We've been at the county, multiple meetings, and what was clear to me was that this property has always been designated as green space. It's always been designated as preservation with the county. Now, I know the city and the county do different things, but, you know, up until 2 weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, we just assumed everything was still in the county. And then we learned it wasn't. So we want you to, although it is technically in the city now, and it got that way by just touching a small piece of another part of the city so they could do a voluntary annex, we want to consider the long-term plans of the county as well, because that's where this property resides with us out there who want to keep it green. It looked like on one of the slides earlier that the LDR was set for open space for the city. And I want to speak to a couple of things that the PwC, everybody I've worked with has been very nice to work with, and they've made some clear efforts to make this project fit in our neighborhood much better than it would originally. We appreciate that very much. My understanding is that this farm at peak would generate power for about 600 to 800 homes, which is not that many, really, if you think about the amount of trees that have to be cut to do that. As far as the plantings, there is a standard. I believe it's 8 feet is the height when they have to come in. The city has some various standards on that. And I would just like to make sure that there's a requirement that if you do approve this project, that the shrubs have to be replaced if they are died for any reason. And I do think there's a matter of a point of order, really. I do think notice is important. I don't think that announcing at a meeting is sufficient necessarily to change that notice for people who are required to have 10 days plus notice of exactly what they're dealing with. So just, we may differ on that point, Madam Attorney. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Just don't get too far.
Okay.
We want to get the rest of the speakers in. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, we've now reached the 15-minute mark for the opposition. Mr. Badgett has 1 minute left. Mr. Vick has 12 seconds left, and there are 2 speakers that have not spoken.
All right. I want to be fair, council. We had used it.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we extend time
There
for
you
all
go.
the speakers.
All right. Thank you. That's where we're going. All right. Is there a second to that? Second by Mayor Pro Tem. All right. Council, look to you for your votes. And Madam Clerk, you can prepare the next person.
Yes, sir. Our next speaker is Mr. Norwood Bryan. All right.
Do we have the vote? Jen? All right. Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Breen.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next speaker.
Okay. Our next speaker is Miss Mary Lynn Bryan. right, sir. All speakers have spoken, with Mr. Badgett having 1 minute remaining and Mr. Vick having 12 seconds. And Mr. Bryant having 10 minutes and 19.
All right, Mr. Baggett, Mr. Bryant, any additional, you had remaining time, did you have anything else to add? No, unless you had a question. All right, so that won't count against your time if council has a question. All right, so council, sir, you did have something? Okay. Come speak in the mic if you don't mind, sir.
This has already been denied by the county and the county zoning and the city zoning. And the city zoning, when they denied it, they went down every one of the points and pointed out how this project did not fit into any of the points. So y'all should have that, I guess. I guess you got a copy of the city zoning report. And that's it.
All right. Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
All right. All right. Councilwoman Harry, you had a question? And
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Brian, I did as well.
Mr. PWC, please. Just one thought that had come up, and I think it's a good request. If this item is moves forward, if any of the trees that the new planted trees die during that period of growth, will PWC go back in and pull them up and replant the new trees?
Yes, that's standard. That's standard process when you're building a
process.
solar project or any other that requires landscaping.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
And again, since I had a few minutes, I had 10 minutes left, and I just want to just mention a couple of things. So as I mentioned before, PWC has had a transform this project on the site for the better part of 10 or almost 13 years. And further, if the state had a master plan of building a state park on this parcel, and it's gone back over 60 years, there's a lot of years and a lot of time to make that happen. And to penalize PWC and all of our 86,000 plus customers because of poor planning or poor execution by the county, I don't think is fair to our 86,000 customers who depend on us to deliver clean, renewable, low-cost power every single day. I'm subject to your questions.
So, Mr. Bryan, I guess my question is more so for probably Mr. Bryan, the last Mr. Bryan that spoke.
That's for us.
Mr. Russ, all right. Got a lot of Bryans and Bryants. So my question was, and I guess you'll be the right one to address it, these buffers that they're showing. As you talk about keeping the appearance of it natural, what would be visible if there's a 100-foot buffer of trees, also pines? What's your concern with what people will be able to see?
Yeah, execution is everything. Out there, this plot of land, best I can tell, was timbered probably 20 years ago, maybe, which means, and never replanted. So everything's natural pine. They're all loblolly pines. There's a lot of those around here, and they're all pretty skinny. So you get when some of those trees in the front denude, you've got a lot of very, very thin trees. So 100 feet sounds like a lot, but you'll be able to see through most of that, I think, from the road, which is why we were grateful for the addition of those offset shrubs that they have set forth in their plan, which I hope you have. We didn't get it till about 4:30 today, but it does specify where and how.
So where I was going with that was basically the ability for it to not impact the visual component or to take away from the natural sense. If there's some type of buffering or trees or something, does that accomplish some of the concerns? Does that address some of the concerns?
Yeah, it addresses the if you're going to build it concern. So if you're going to approve this, I mean, I hope my brother and that we've expressed some of the broader concerns about the long-term land use and the county's position on it, green space and all the rest of it, and the potential for that area to be the
the kind of the hub of the Carvers Creek State Park one day. So yes, if we get to this is going to get approved, I think the PWC, and particularly Mr. Bryant, has been open to hearing our concerns and doing what he can to address them. And it's just a matter of, it's hard to say until it's done, but it appears on paper that it will be helpful.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Have Councilmember Thompson, Green, and Mayor Pro Tem and Hare.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Mr. Bryant, please, I just have a quick question, and it came by Mr. Bryan's comment about the things you have done. And reading this CAM over the past week, I know you've addressed their entrance, you've addressed their noise, you have addressed their water runoff, you have addressed their buffering. Are there any other adjacent residents that you have not contacted with to address any of their concerns that they may have?
Councilman Thompson, we've talked to or made attempts to talk to all of our neighbors around the perimeter. And the neighbor to our immediate west, I would say, who's closest to the project, my team, they've outreached to him, but they've not had any contacts, and he's not made any further objections or comments relative to the project.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right. Mayor Pro Tem and then Councilmember Green.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Bryant, please. Thank you. So how long does a solar farm last? So if, let's say this passes and it goes out, how long will those solar panels last out there?
These solar panels have a design life of about 30 years. And as I was sharing with some of the adjacent neighbors previously, at the end of that 30-year life, what PwC, just like any other solar owner, we'd consider the performance of those panels at that 30-year life, and either if they're still performing greater than 80%, we'll keep them there until they show degradation less than 80% performance. And at that point, when they do show degradation beyond or less than the 80%, that's when we will make a decision to essentially repower the site by using more efficient solar panels at that site. The panels that are there will be discarded following all federal and or state requirements, i.e. hiring a third-party firm to dispose of what would be considered a hazardous material. We don't do that work. We hire people to do that, but we would repower that site with more efficient panels on that same 44 acres.
So my next question is, I saw the letter from RULAC. So I'm assuming that when it came to the county, that letter was not there. Is that correct?
That would be fair, yes.
Okay, and I guess my question is, why were they involved?
So we involve not only RULAC, we had to make sure that we have the glare study because of the proximity of our airfields around us, and airports. So we covered all the bases, which is standard for building a solar generating facility. You have to run through all those state, federal, and or local regulatory requirements just to ensure that all the boxes are preferably checked.
And the reason why I'm asking, how tall? I mean, I've seen the solar panels out where we have them. I mean, how tall are they? They're not even.
They're not tall. The solar panels, once installed, are about 6 to 8 feet off the ground.
Okay, that's what I thought. Then my other thing was, so the mayor talked about the buffering, and what I am seeing is that it seems that the conversation when the Bryans went to the county, there has been a lot of communication that their concerns are being looked at.
Correct.
So what I'm going to say is, I think, so I'm from that area. I, believe it or not, I've done the whole zip line thing and closed my eyes the whole time and was scared to death. But I grew up out near on the Carvers Falls. I had lots of friends that lived out there. The reality of what is happening out on the north side of town is Ramsey Street's getting ready to be completely torn up and have 2 more lanes put on it. It is getting ready to be exactly the bedroom community to Wake County. The train is going to be going there. So I think it's going to be very hard, especially the way our legislation is and our federal government and our state government is to make sure that if this thing does not pass, and I see the zoning is for low density, I don't see low density happening for housing. And I think in the near future, the state is going to take away our power to make sure that it's not high density. So at the end of the day, I think that it probably is going to pass. Up here, it's probably going to pass. And I think that it's going to be imperative that the Bryans and Mr. Bryant with PWC continue this relationship to make sure, because I do agree that the 100-foot buffer has got to be a must that you cannot see. And the last question I'm going to ask, are the falls in any area that they can be lost with this solar panel being this solar farm being put in?
Absolutely not. The falls are on the other side and down towards
No,
the river.
no flooding, no anything.
Negative. Again, our engineers, we work with Booth Engineering firm out of Raleigh to, again, as Mr. Badgett mentioned, the storm ponds, and I mentioned them as well, to keep the runoff on property. So those retention ponds will retain all the sheet flow from the storms on property, and they will allow the parcel to drain and dry without dispersing the sheet flow off of our site. And we've done studies up to the 10-year floodplain or 10-year floods or storms. Obviously, if there's a 3 or 4 day tropical storm that sits on top of us, it's not designed for that. No site is designed for that. We all know that Fayetteville is generally in a wet area. It's a wet region. And when we have a tropical storm or hurricane, we do see flooding across this community. No design is going to cover us for that.
So I'm going to have one last question, I promise. So I've heard a lot about a state park and keeping it in a state park, and I know about 5 years ago the state, had us do a vote that we would take some property that was there, and then they said they weren't ready to give it to us. So my question is, in 30 years, the solar farm is kind of gone or something new comes along because technology changes everything. If those solar panels come up, trees can be planted back, correct?
Again, that's another benefit of solar. I didn't mention it in my slides, but that is a benefit of solar development on this site and any other site for that matter. At the end of the project life, if there's a better use for the site, those solar panels can be pulled up because we're not pouring any concrete. We're not putting any permanent footings on the property. So yes, if there's a decision to recoup that property for some other development beyond solar, it can easily be recovered in that way, unlike pouring concrete for building residential or any other type of development that requires footing, steel, and or concrete to be poured in place. This is not that kind of a project.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Green.
Yes, thank you. First, Mr. Bryant, since you're standing there, I won't make you sit down, stand back up. Do you know how long the property was on the market before PwC purchased it by any chance?
I am not certain how long the property was on the market. We acquired this property tantamount to literally about 2 years ago today in 2023. And again, it's not that we were talking to the owners looking for a deal. It was publicly marketed. And we saw it as we were looking for sites, potential sites for solar. Again, as I mentioned before, solar makes sense where there's existing transmission and or substation. This was one of those sites.
Right. Okay. That's all I had for you. I have a question for maybe Callan, Brian, or Russ, Brian, whichever one. We'll start with him. So I'm really just trying to get all the information I can, because unlike Mayor Pro Tem, I love ziplining, and I'm the adrenaline junkie up here probably. And I've been out there many, many times and love the thrill of it and enjoy the nature part of it. So I understand your passion for it, and I understand your family's passion for it. My family's been here a very long time, just like yours. So I understand your passion for it. So when your time ran out, you started to say something about housing. So, and I think you kind of made a comment that you would rather have housing there. So help me with that, because it's a little foreign in
Yeah.
my mind because of kind of the things that Mayor Pro Tem spoke about.
Sure, I don't want housing there, so I may have
Okay.
misspoken.
That was good a clarification then.
When the clock's ticking.
I understand.
Yeah, sorry about that. What I was suggesting is what we've been told about this project is at full capacity. So what do you have full capacity? Is full sunlight. The inverters are humming at 70, 80 decibels, and no clouds in the sky, right? We were told that's going to be around 700-800 houses, and that was before the project got smaller. So maybe it's 500 houses when everything's working great. We were also told that the only way this makes sense is to wait 20 years before new battery technology comes around so you can capture that and store it and then push it back onto the grid later. Now, there are other solar panels that are capturing this, and Fayetteville is benefiting from it. You just don't own them. And that's okay, I think. And so you are getting the benefit of that. And I was comparing a few hundred homes, if you're lucky, to the entrance to this project. I mean, a lot of this push, we talked a lot about the speed, apparent errors in this noticing process. That is because they have a deadline. There's some federal dollars that are being dangled. And there is a rush to do this and cut down a bunch of trees as fast as they can. Now, I understand their position too. They want that 30%. If they don't get that 30%, they will continue to build regardless. That cost we passed on to the customers, and that's what we've been told. So I would just comparing those things, because we're not asking you to vote no to solar. If you vote for this, you're voting yes to this project right next to the corridor to one of the state's biggest assets, and according to a lot of folks. And the state of North Carolina, the Department of Commerce put us on that map, and we're grateful for that. I think Fayetteville is grateful for that. It's brought some attention. And in the future, it brings people from out of town who might not normally stop off of 95, perhaps. And we think long-term is the goal to think about this. And, in my opinion, I just want to be honest, I don't think it belongs there. I think there are other places to put a solar farm, even if it's a little more expensive. That's my
I
opinion.
have one last question. If this were to go through, is there anything, and maybe this is also for Russ Bryan, is there anything that PwC has missed in your mind that would make it a little easier to swallow?
I think that would probably have to be renoticed and go through again instead of last-minute slide-ins. Because we'd love to consider anything, and Tim's been a gentleman when we went about all of this, and so we're grateful for that relationship. It just doesn't belong here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember McNair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two questions for Bryant, PwC. My first question is, what specific financial benefits can the city expect from this project over time?
Directly, you're going to get about $245,000 per year to the pilot that the city doesn't have to raise taxes on all of its citizens for, number one. Number two, benefit for the city. Again, this is, PwC will operate the project, but the city of Fayetteville owns all of our assets, as you all know. So this is a direct benefit to the city for that pilot, as well as you owning our assets. And more specifically for your customers, our customers and your citizens, they're going to get, as Mr. Bryan mentioned, about less than 1,000 homes that will get a direct benefit. This is still a benefit because every kilowatt, not megawatt, but every kilowatt that I don't have to buy from Duke Energy will save customers, your taxpayers, money.
All right, thank you. My second question is, how do you plan to keep the community informed and involved during the implementation of this project?
Great question. And again, PwC, we have a very, an award-winning even communications team, and we touch on whether it's social media. We have our robust website. We do a lot of community outreach as well to continue to communicate to all of our customers about everything, whether it's on the electric and water, wastewater side of our business, to ensure that our customers and the broader community are informed about everything that we have going on at PwC.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right, Councilman Hondros.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr.
Excuse
Bryant?
me, Mayor Coven, I'm sorry. Can Mr. Harmon come clarify the notice point, please?
Yes. Mr. Harmon's come up a couple of times.
Be glad to do that. So, contrary to what you've heard tonight, the notices were sent out, meeting the 10-day notification. The ads were put in the paper
The
at
revised
the correct
notice.
times. Yes, all advertising CCCZ as the zoning going forward, even for the zoning commission. So,
Well, how about the one in our CAM that had the heavy in the bottom?
yeah, that's the only place that when that, I guess when the application was was amended, that one little place was missed. It does say at the top, though, that it is CCCZ.
Okay. All right.
But all of the advertising and deadlines were met.
All right.
Well, since Mr. Harmon's up there, I'll ask you a real quick question.
Yes.
The fact that this is a conditional zoning, whether it was CCCZ, LI or HICZ or ARCZ or any other residential zoning CZ, the CZ, CZ is conditional zoning, correct?
Correct.
So one of the conditions is the only use would be a solar farm, correct?
Yes.
So it's almost a moot point what the zoning classification is. The condition is that no matter what we call it, it's a solar farm.
That's the condition
Essentially.
number one.
That's kind of what I had gathered. I just wanted to make sure my understanding was correct. Mr. Bryant, if you would, please. How many current solar farms does PwC own? Is it 2 or 3 or?
So right now we have, again, we have 5, including Carver's Fall. Carver's Fall is in design and in permitting. We're in the process of constructing the Rockfish Solar.
Push it, yeah, there you go.
So Rockfish is under construction. We have.
But how many are operational?
We have 3 currently operational. We have Butler Warner, original Butler Warner.
Right.
We have Sally Hill, and we also have what's my third one? Gillespie Street Solar. And again, we've got Carver's Fall under development. Butler Warner Phase 2 is also in development.
Thank you. And there was some, I heard different numbers. So in our CCAM, and I think you mentioned earlier, the decibels produced by this is 60
yes,
decibels, and I've heard 70, 80.
Yes, I'll address that. So again, what we've done, again, citing the adjacent residents' concern about noise, we performed a noise study. We went out to the Sally Hills Solar Farm, one of our most recent solar facilities, which will have the same inverters as the proposed Carver's Fall solar facility. And our third-party engineer, they went out and performed a noise study, and they confirmed the 60 decibels at 3 feet per the manufacturer's specifications. And again, 60 decibels is about what we're talking right now. And with most of these residents, or all of these adjacent neighbors for that matter, either across the ones that are here, across the road more than 50 feet across the road, they will never hear this project, even if it's in the dead of night, because clearly the inverters aren't running in the dead of night. They only run during the day with the solar farm.
Right, and I don't know if Mr. Harmon or any other staff member can confirm, but I think in residential and public spaces, our decibel per our ordinance is maximum 60 decibels at 75 feet, and with a 100-foot natural buffer, I would think that would be buffered much further than that.
And again, 60 decibels at 3 feet, so literally from here to the edge of that dais is what we're talking about at 60 feet. So at 100 feet plus, you will not hear the inverters.
Right. The existing, and I'm probably going to use the wrong word, either substation, the transformers, or the machinery that PwC has in operation adjacent to this site already, does that produce any noise?
And if anything that the neighbors will hear, they'll hear the fans from that substation that have been there for the last 13 years before they hear the solar facility.
Right, okay. And then I just wanted to clarify one last thing for the RULAC, which is the Fort Bragg Regional Land Use Advisory Commission. So they did submit a letter, per a letter dated September 8th in our CCAM, that this was reviewed with the county application, and their concern was glare, because this is in the impact area of aviation operations for Simmons Airfield. And that plan, which I guess has been revised slightly, the results of the glare study performed by the engineers concluded that the solar panels would not present a glare hazard to the aviators. This was RULAC's only potential concern and was resolved prior to the hearing on the case. So I don't want to read the whole thing, but their only concern is that with this revised plan, that a new similar study, glare study, is conducted so they can make sure it doesn't mess with their flight path. And then at the last statement says, while RULAC's findings or recommendations are non-binding on the City of Fayetteville, their considerations and incorporation into your review of this case will help improve compatibility outcomes for our region as a whole, protecting Fort Bragg's military training and operational missions. I just wanted to state that for the record. And I did have one more while we're talking about it, and I just thought about it and I just forgot it again. So if I remember it, I will hit the button again, Mr. Mayor.
So again, Councilman Hondros, so the revision to the site plan, in response to the adjacent neighbors' concerns around stormwater runoff, we deleted at least one row of planned roadway through the solar farm, and we deleted, again, from a traffic concern, the southmost entrance into the site plan. So as a result of that, we shifted the solar farm because of the additional rows in the 100-foot buffer, the additional rows of the bushes, plus the 100-foot undisturbed buffer, and these additional storm ponds. We had to reconfigure the solar farm slightly, hence the revised site plan. But the site plan is essentially the same, but we eliminated some roads and added the storm ponds and the bushes.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Council. We'll need some decisions soon. I need to close the public hearing. Councilman Benavente?
Thank you. This will be from Mr. Callan Bryan. Mr. Bryan, as you're making your way up, I appreciate, you having organized your family to come out here and to, have your son kind of come by. It's just really impressive. Mr. Bryan, was there anything else, having heard, PwC's sort of responses to city council members, that you would want to offer? Because it sounds like I think we're about to get to a point of voting. Just if you had a final opportunity to share.
No, I mean, it's just a project that we believe shouldn't go forward. I think it's been rushed. I think there's challenges with it, and I think the long-term vision of this region, having this available for the community, will significantly outweigh whatever benefits we get from a solar farm. And we do appreciate PwC's position. We do appreciate the commissioners considering this, but this is a much bigger issue than saving a few bucks on a piece of land. We think that the value to Fayetteville and the region is something that needs to be thoughtfully considered. We believe this process has been rushed, and adequate consideration hadn't been given for the folks around us to voice that. And the state of North Carolina, I spoke to them today, head of State Parks Division, very, very interested in this again. And so everything was fast, couldn't get him down here, but it is something that they're considering. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, council, let me close the public hearing. With that, I'll entertain a motion to either approve or not. Councilwoman Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I motion that we approve the application subject to the conditions included in the application, along with the replacement of the dead shrubbery in case that was to happen.
All right, so make sure, Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor Coven. Whoever makes the motion, if it's to approve, could you please read everything under the recommended action in the CCAM?
The planning staff recommends that the city council, well, let me just read the first one. The subject is consistent with applicable city adopted plans, including the future land use plan and strategic plan goals to focus investment on services, sites, and to encourage context appropriate to non-resident uses. The pro-offered conditions, setbacks, buffering, screening, light limits, and facility operations, maintenance, adequate mitigation, potential impacts, and ensure capability with adjacent uses. Adequate public infrastructure and safe site access exist or can be provided, and remaining site-specific issues, traffic, stormwater, environmental protection will be addressed through the city's development review and permitting process.
Thank you.
All right, it's a motion by Councilmember Thompson as stated, seconded by Hare. Discussion.
Just very briefly, Mr. Mayor.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think that there is an opportunity here for us to reach out to some folks that have been mentioned, in particular, folks at the state level, in particular parks departments, to see if there is any veracity to them making an investment with regards to this area. I know that there was some information shared that certainly was somewhat of a red flag to me about the pace at which this process has been moved through, and if there's an opportunity for us to either table this option until we have a chance to incorporate some of the points that were made to verify that we're making a good decision, because I certainly appreciate solar just as much as anybody. I think there's plenty of places that we can have PwC do that. I think PwC is doing a great job in so many ways that they can afford it. And so, if there's an opportunity for us to kind of grow, our offerings here in the city to be more of a destination, I think it's worthwhile to consider what that option is, so that we can sort of make this decision in full context. If this has kind of been moved in the past couple of weeks, and maybe there's some mention that there's some sort of deadline that has not been kind of spoken to outwardly, those are several concerns that I think we should keep in mind, so that we're being fair to everyone who's participating in this process. Thank you.
All right.
Call for the vote, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. All right, Council, look to you for action on this item. This is to approve as stated. All right, Madam, Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Green.
All right. I guess the point of order is I heard Councilmember Thompson say he's calling for the vote, which sounds like he is calling the question, which is a motion that needs 2/3 of a vote.
It wasn't any other
Oh, okay.
question.
He's just interjecting?
Yeah, you finished the discussion. His discussion point was stated, and there were no other questions that had been placed. We're voting now, sir. All right, Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
She said green, sir.
Okay.
Green.
Madam Clerk, can you reset the board?
Yes, there we go.
All right. All right. Motion carries 8-1. Those voting in opposition. Councilmember Benavente. All right. Good luck, guys. It sounds like y'all are pretty much there. So, Mr. Bryant, you heard in the order about the trees, and hopefully that will meet the interest. Thank you. All right, Council, moving to the next item, 8.04. This is the public hearing that had been scheduled by Mr. Robert Van Gens.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for this opportunity to be before you tonight. Positive momentum building around some of our economic development projects. This is Project Superman. They often ask, where did some of these names come from? We often don't get to pick them, but when we do, we try to keep it simple, as this is a steel component manufacturer. Man of Steel, Superman, you could see where that goes from there. This is an existing company in Fayetteville. They currently employ 58. They're manufacturing steel operations, and This is a company with operations in multiple states and multiple locations that can accommodate this type of growth. So we are competing against sites in Virginia, South Carolina. They own a 75-acre undeveloped tract. This would add 42 full-time employees with, importantly, an average salary to exceed $66,700. Often we talk about average wages, not what do they pay just on the average or the median, but are there good jobs for everyone? Here, the lowest starting salary is just under $60,000 a year. This would represent a $22 million investment in new buildings and equipment. We believe this is in keeping with the city's strategic plan to encourage investment and to be a place of employment and economic opportunity. We are asking that after your required public hearing, that you keep with the city's adopted incentive policy that would approve a 5-year declining incentive grant not to exceed $327,000 a year. Basically, as we've done with other projects, the grant would decline each year 90, 80, 70, 60, 50% of the new tax revenue paid. So the city would never grant more than is received in any year, and each year would be recalculated based on the actual taxes paid to the city, and that the jobs would have to have been created at the wages set forth. Over 10 years at your current rate, the city would collect $781,000 in new revenue, and after paying the $327,000 in incentives, retain a projected $453,000. A similar request will be going forward to Cumberland County at their next meeting. We are also working with the state of North Carolina as they consider this project for discretionary incentives. And with that, should you have questions of me now or after the public hearing, we hope that you'll support this project.
Thank you, sir. All right. With that, I will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we have no speakers for this item.
All right. With that, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Hare.
Mayor, I move that we approve the request incentive grant to be paid out over 5 years as outlined above. If I also not to exceed $327,487 worth of the incentive grant, sir.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right. So motion by Councilmember Hare, seconded by Councilmember McNair. Any discussion?
I have a brief discussion.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Van Giens, I just want to say thank you for all the hard work on this. It's going to be another great example of the awesome things that are happening in Fayetteville City Council District 3, my home district. And I appreciate Councilmember Hare and Councilmember McNair for making this motion. We're looking forward to it and all the wonderful things that it brings. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Council will look to you for your votes. Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Green.
All right. Motion carries. All right.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. And then,
Thank you.
all right, Council, moving to next item, which is 9.01, authorized PSAP architectural agreement. Mr. Lindsay.
Where is that presentation? Is it up here? I don't see it on here.
What's the issue, Mr. Lindsay?
We were hoping to bring up our presentation for you guys. If you give me just 1 second. It's not preloaded here.
We have it if you want to go ahead and read it, because I see the 26 slide, so if you see it there to move forward, we can just kind of carry it on, cursor it over as you go, because we do have it.
Well, and do we have the consultant on with us as well?
Sabina or Paula, is she still on?
Lisa Shorter is on, Adam.
Okay. She speaks. Okay. So let me go ahead and get us started and see if we can get the presentation on showing. But just bringing this, I guess, back for a little bit of history. The 911 PSAP, Public Safety Answering Point, is a project that was a top priority in the 2022 general obligation bond that was overwhelmingly approved by our citizens. And we began working on that almost immediately, and the question arose then, as it has over our past in the city, about a consolidation or an opportunity to work with the county. And if you recall, we went through a process of selection, a qualifications-based process to find an architect. And that would have been at the very end of last calendar year. In March of this year, our consultant who's joining us for this presentation came forward with an opportunity to award the contract to Schrader Architect. And at that time, the council made a decision to pause on that decision, knowing that the county had re-engaged about consolidation. It gave some limited direction for us to pursue a grant, which ultimately we were not able to obtain this round. We are hopeful that maybe we can in the second round. But the question has lingered then of, are we consolidating with the county, and how does that impact us moving forward with this project? In some recent small group meetings with the council, there seemed to be an indication about bringing this item back, so that's what our intention was. And in the very timing of that, the county had a city-county liaison meeting, which they brought up this onto that agenda about consolidation. So the timing was coincidental, but we left it on the agenda, not knowing if the council wanted to table this or move forward with it. So with that, we have a presentation about the 911, which is similar to what you heard in March, and we're happy to answer questions. But it's up now, and I will advance the slides for our consultant, and she apologized she could not be in person today, but we want to go ahead and give her the chance to walk through this.
Thank you very much. So given the programming for the city of Fayetteville, the approximate square footage we've presented to the Schrader Group as a design goal is 18,200 square feet. That will include 18 911 workstations and then 3 tactical or simulation room seats, so a total of 21 911 workstations. It also includes a suite of offices, 14 administrative offices. A couple of those are for future growth, certainly. A conference room that seats 16, and then a large, we're calling it on this slide, a lecture-style classroom. The furniture would be configurable in what we're considering conceptual. So you could have essentially pencil tables that you could push aside and have a 90-seat lecture-style classroom. Or you could bring in tables and then the seatings would adjust accordingly. Certainly a secure data center, kitchen, break room. There's quiet room for downtime from the very stressful job of 911, and lockers and restrooms. The way we got to where we are today is Schrader Group Architects was the highest scoring in the request for qualifications that was published by the city in November of last year. After that, they and 3 others, two additional, were invited to present orally to a selection committee, and those 3 candidates were then collectively scored. Schrader Group did score highest by a reasonable margin, in fact, and they then provided the AIA agreement to provide the design, construction, administration for your 911 center. Before you move on this slide, could we just back up a little bit, because there's really an opportunity here for you to see the conceptual design And in this design, you'll see at where exactly, thank you, where the cursor sits, there's a sort of a grayed out space. That space could be future built should you want to expand the 911 operations center. So that orange block represents the operations floor. And then that green block and yellow block next to it are all on raised floor so that there's access for cable tray and cabling underneath, making your 911 center expandable. Expandable either for future needs of the city or for possible consolidation. Until that happens, that room would then be your training room, that 90-seat lecture room. Now, what you're looking at is the conceptual design prior to the discussion about making this pushed out for co-location or consolidation. So these two spaces, the green and yellow, would actually be expanded a little bit, and the shadowed space that you'd see would be future built. Thank you for letting me do that. I didn't see an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about their design anywhere else. I think one of the things that would be valuable for this committee to know is MCP's done several projects with Schrader Group. They are nationally ranked in multiple publications. They've gotten multiple design awards for critical infrastructure design. They work off of FEMA best practices, building ICC 500, which is weather compliant facilities. They're very familiar with hardened structures, network, structured cabling. They speak frequently at NENA, APCO, IACP, and that's the International Association of Chiefs of Police, and of course, in their professional organization, the Architectural Academy of Architects. The projects are national for them, so they're not just local to North Carolina, just like us. They're all over the nation. In fact, they have hub offices in Raleigh, Philly, and Baltimore. They're home based in Pittsburgh. This is a facility construction timeline put here to just give you an idea what we're talking about if we start today. So if we are able to pass this, get this contract signed, this agreement signed, then we would begin kickoff of design as quickly as October, perhaps November. And that design would last 12 months. There's 3 stages of that design: schematic, design, design documentation, and then construction documents. At that point, they'd break into construction, break ground, consider 18 months for that, and then migration and transition of the facility into an operable 911 center, which includes a lot of technology. So you kind of see that gray to black arrow on the bottom. It begins during construction, and then once substantial completion of the construction is done, then we put some of the more sensitive equipment in. We work with vendors to put in, for example, the workstations with the platforms that go up and down, with any of the sensitive servers. We make sure that they're cabled correctly and grounded correctly, and we work with either your construction management team or your general contractor and Schrader to get that done. So you'd be looking at December 2028 if you started today, if you were able to sign now. Any month that pushes past that, in fact, you could probably move to the next slide, I'm sorry. So what you're looking at now is, I'm going to hold that thought for a second just while I talk to you about this one. I know that you all know this bond money exists. And what I'm showing you right now is a completed design by Schrader Group in 2023. They broke ground on this facility. Let me take a look. They began design in 2019, and then they broke ground in 2023. This one had a tower associated with it. Inside that, where that tall window is, you see it. It's if you could peek through that window right now, you'd see a big training space similar to what we're proposing for your facility. And then in the spots that you can't see, where there's a lot less windows, is their 911 center. Oh, I think we're missing a slide, but that's okay. Yeah, it's all right. One of the things I wanted to point out, and I can just pull up, it's not your, it's I'm sure it's me. So one of the things I wanted to be able to talk to you about were just why now, right? Why do you want to act now? And one of there are several reasons for that. And first of all, I'd say over the past 3 years, construction has increased by 27% in North Carolina. A lot of that was in the COVID years, and it's stabilized now, but the construction's still at 4 to 6% inflation annually. So every quarter you delay is 1 to 1.5% escalation, and this construction project is estimated at about $16.5 million. So 1.5% of that every 3 months. Also, your 911 center is not protected from that railway. It's not protected from bad actors. And she doesn't really have the space she needs to grow. Her call volume actually supports, as well as new 911 board approval of training seats. Her floor space does not accommodate either of those things, so she's just maxed out. And then we talked a little bit about the grant. She's still eligible for a formulation based on their calculations of $8.7 million. So that's something that she, and when I say she, I'm sorry, I mean Lisa Reed and her team.
I was going to ask you, who is she?
I'm sorry. She's the golden she, right? We'll be asking for again in May of next year.
Mr.
And I think that does wrap up my presentation, and I welcome questions.
Yes, ma'am. We did have some questions for you. Councilman Benavente.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just prepared to make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute an AIA agreement to contract HORD Copland Mact Incorporated Schrader Group Studio for the design and construction administration of the facility for a fixed fee of $1,495,000 for architectural services and an allowance NTE $275,000 for civil engineering and landscape architecture services for site development.
All right, let me circle back to you on the motion because I did have a question. All right. You second it? All right. So did have a question for you,
Question.
Madam, and we have a couple of more questions. So as I look at your group that you're with, the services that we contract you for, is it for consulting on the design, engineering, and prepare for construction of the physical location?
That's part of it, sure. There was site selection, so we've reviewed officially 4 sites under this current contract with you. And then also we facilitated the architect selection.
Okay. So, but it's all related to site selection, construction, and designing of the physical location itself, right? Not operational. So you don't advise on operation. I know upstairs.
Yeah.
I had asked about that, and you said, well, yeah, you could move this wall and expand in the future, but does your company do more design related, like you just described, or do you consult also on an operational basis if we weren't building anything?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the facilities is actually a small part of Mission Critical Partners. We do a lot of technology, radio communications. We have a judicial section, cybersecurity, and then it's specifically what you're asking for. There's a whole team that helps implement systems, helps procure software, helps consolidate centers, and even on occasion divorce centers after consolidation doesn't work. So yes, we've got a whole, I think we're about 300 strong at this point, and the facilities team is about a dozen people. So we certainly have all of those
what are
available
some of
to
the
you.
other communities that's similar size to us that have hired your services for consolidation previously?
For consolidation, I'm in the facilities team. I do have Stacy on. She may be able to elaborate.
Yeah, I probably would have to find the exact numbers for that, but that's one of the major. I'm not even sure that I can estimate. We work them all the time. We do consolidation feasibility studies and implementation plans across the country. I'd have to find out what the exact number is, but we do. It's very, very common for us.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not saying how many. I'm just saying, do you have an example of a community or city similar size to us that you've assisted before in the past?
In the state or outside of the outside of North Carolina.
Preferably in the state, but doesn't have to be.
I have to dig around for that. You're challenging me to give you a specific one. What do
So
they
you
got
don't know
here?
any
One,
past
two,
customers
four.
you've
Trying to think
used
of.
as cities our size?
Oh, well, I mean, we do a number of those, like in the, for example, honestly, it really depends on the total number of agencies. I mean, I can think of, I've worked on a number of them where I've had anywhere from, 2 consolidated communities up to 12 or even more than that are looking to consolidate. We're currently we work on regionalization studies at the state level for some of the states that we work with.
Let me re-ask the question. Do you have a community that you can name as a past client reference for that consolidated services that you assisted them with?
Yes, but I guess the question is whether or not it's going to be, you need that to be in the state of North Carolina, because then I'm going to have to go in and see what I have to find a name for you on that. But outside of that, for sure.
And Mayor, I would just.
I'm not trying to make it complicated. It doesn't have to be, like if you've worked with clients before, you've done this quite a bit. So if you've worked with a community in Georgia, who is it? Is it? Can you think of any?
Yeah, I mean, a
recent
one a recent one that I worked with was in Wisconsin, where I consolidated, helped do the feasibility study and the implementation plan for a city and county in northern Wisconsin, where they brought it together.
Do you have a name?
We've done other implementation plans. I did one that was not that long ago last year for Southern Illinois, where we built the plan for multiple communities.
Yes, ma'am. So you don't have a specific community.
The one that I was just talking about in Wisconsin was Bayfield and Ashland, Wisconsin, and then we can give you a list of other ones that we've done, that we've written the plans for.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it would be important to note that we're the facilities group. So the operations team is a different group of people, and we can certainly talk to them about providing a list to you. We didn't have them on because the topic was the AIA agreement, not consolidation.
Which was my point upstairs. So the city and the county have been in discussions about this for years, and I understand the fatigue in talking about it, and I understand the urgency in being able and having to get a facility, as we promised the taxpayers when they voted for the bond or the bonding ability of the city. A meeting is scheduled for later this month to have a special work session or meeting to discuss the possibility of consolidation, which we did hear. Sure. There was some interest in that. Now, what I understood and what I think we were trying to get to upstairs was that this is 2 parts, as indicated. This is the facilities conversation, because this is the facilities team. They don't really have a lot of input to give us on the other component of services that are there. So I guess, council, if the goal is to sign this and to obligate the city by contract into the facility without or before, or which preempts the meeting if there is a consolidation. My question for the consultants who own the facility, and this is a facilities-based question, so hopefully we can get there a little quicker. Is there any way that there can be more time given besides the 7 days if changes are made?
You would start with schematic design. So in schematic design, you would do all of those things. You're not locked into a design until you go to bid. And then I would just remind the board that we were part of your original consolidation feasibility study in 2015. In fact, the bulk of the consolidation report that you got from the Joint Committee is the MCP report itself. So in August of 2015, we did that consolidation feasibility study where we recommended co-location. Then we did an MOU for consolidation about a year later. And then, it fell apart and Cumberland applied for their renovation grant in 2019. And so I believe it was then that you took up the bond effort so that you could move your 911 center forward.
Gotcha. What was the 7 days you were referencing upstairs?
The 7 days is the notice to quit on the agreement that is before you today.
Okay, gotcha. Seven. Says 7. And that's what I was asking. Is that negotiable?
You.
All right. Councilmember McNair and Hare.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 questions here. My first question is, how will the success of the merger be evaluated over time to be merged together? Is that for you or the speaker?
I think if we're talking consolidation, what you could do is refer to the MOU that was in that consolidation report. It's not part of this packet because this topic is a little different, but you could see maintenance cost savings. There would be more situational awareness because everybody would be working under one roof. There would be pretty much zero misrouting, right? Because you're consolidated centers. So you don't have to worry about citizens getting transferred if they hit the wrong 911 center. Better operational awareness. And then any technologies that you onboard, you'd be onboarding together. So if you do ASAP, for example, which is alarm companies calling into the 911 center or populating the CAD screen in the 911 center themselves, or you do voice automated dispatch where it's text to voice and the fire departments get dispatched that way, that could be a system that you share. And then when you go for your accreditations, there wouldn't be 2 entities trying to get accredited. You would accredit as an agent, as a single unit.
Okay, thank you. My second question is, would there be opportunities for residents to provide ongoing input after the merge?
I think that's an interesting question. It has to do with how you assemble, that plan is going to take, assuming everything is successful and you guys can agree on everything, both the city and the county, then how you assemble your guidance team, your advisory board, thank you. You could have a citizen input because you could have a seat for a citizen in the rural community and in the metro area. It would just depend on ultimately how you design that structure.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Hare.
Okay, Mayor, I need you to help give me some clarity on our, put that, Adam, please put that, that item that you had, one that was up there on the screen before. Where I think it had the architect, the selection, go back to that.
Yes, sir.
Right, yes, sir, thank you. Help me understand, council, so I want to make sure that I'm understanding exactly, because I remember all the conversations that we had upstairs. Now, are we speaking of, if we're moving forward to approve or to authorize the city manager to execute this AIA agreement, are we speaking of the city of Fayetteville only, or okay, let me just say the other part too, or are we speaking of a collaboration between the two? Are we speaking Fayetteville and County, or are we just speaking Fayetteville?
Fayetteville is all we can speak for.
Okay, and so the motion that was put on the floor and that was second was the AIA agreement just for Fayetteville 911.
Yes.
Okay, I'm good.
Which is what the staff recommended.
All right, Councilman Hondros and then Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wanted to have clarification on the termination of the agreement. The 7-day termination, the way I'm understanding that is similar to a commercial lease. So you give 30 days notice, you pay the 30 days, any other damages or expenses that are owed, and then your responsibilities are fulfilled and obligations. So in this agreement, when we talk about a 7-day termination, the city, if for whatever reason decides to terminate the agreement and partnership with your firm and give 7 days notice, we only owe any work that you've done up to that time and then the 7 days in the future, correct?
You only owe, well, one point of clarification, it's not our firm. We're the owner's rep. We are representing you. Your Schrader Group is the architect. But yes, the short answer is you owe you need to give 7 days notice, and that's without cause. You could terminate sooner with cause.
For any reason or no reason. My point is, if we negotiate a 10-day termination or 30-day termination, it's negatively impacting our position. The shorter period is better for us, correct?
Right.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
7
Thank
days
you.
is pretty short. That's why I wasn't sure where if the mayor
I
was
just
looking
making sure
for
I
3
wasn't
days.
misunderstanding that. Thank you.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what I guess I wanted to say is what I heard upstairs is this design that we are looking at is big enough for the city and the county because the goal is to consolidate and for us to move forward. If the county decides not to come with us, we can put a training center in the area that the county could go. And then if the county does decide to come with us, we have one building that we are prepared to have everybody in, and then we would build another building for the training center. Is that correct of what I heard upstairs?
You're exactly right, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, just one point.
Yes, sir.
I wanted the Mayor Pro Tem to ask her a question about having the mental health inside the same building.
So my understanding is that the mental health would have room in that facility, correct?
So the mental health topic did not come up until we all saw the recommendation page of that report. And I'm not exactly sure. I think it's just a matter of another dispatch seat, maybe an office.
Correct.
So they would accommodate that. This design would accommodate that.
I think there's also some consideration that may not need to be in the facility. It may be an external location as well.
Correct. I just wanted the listening audience to know that consolidation is the goal, but we have to move to do something because we started this in 2015 and our 911 employees are still in the same place that they were in 2015. Thank you.
All right. Council, any other comments or questions? So we have a motion and a second to the motion. Council, as a part of that, it's a good segue at the conclusion of that action that we set a date for the consolidation conversation. As you said, the county spent $30+ million on renovation of the executive place. We are looking at, ma'am, what's the ballpark estimated cost of this constructed building that you're proposing?
Not including the site or technology, just construction, 16.5 is your budget proposed.
In site and in technology?
Assuming it's the city of Fayetteville only, about $2 million in technology. Most of that would be picked up with an NC 911 emergency telephone services fees, and then whatever site you determine to purchase.
So roughly $20 million, excluding the site location.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So
let me do some. That's a reasonable ballpark.
So about 20 million plus the site.
Yeah.
So
yes, sir.
So 20 plus 30, 50. So hopefully there is an opportunity. But the community is growing and it plans to grow, and it will more than likely need more than one facility, which has been stated before about the concern of the future growth size of that. So
if I may, Mr. Mayor,
yeah,
that doesn't include the $8 to $10 million that we'll get from the state, which will reduce that cost, correct?
Yeah, I'm not sure about the
Cost
grant.
is cost. We weren't telling you where the
Those are
revenues come
costs.
from.
You factored in grants in already.
Right. No, I mean, she's saying that those would be the outlay, right? If we can supplement, like the 911 money she was talking about, that's not a cost we would bear if we can get those. If we get the grant, that helps us save money to spend on additional public safety projects.
That's what I wanted to make
Right,
clear.
right. But most of the grants are for consolidation. Is that right?
No.
No, sir.
Okay. Because they had
No.
now when we had missed the application period before, they were saying that most of the grants were encouraging consolidation. So you're saying that's not the case anymore?
What they do is assign a priority for their awarding of the money. So if they get to the point where all of the money is expended, they might not consider priority 5. Priority 1 is construction consolidation. So you would just move from a priority 1 to a priority 5. I would emphasize, though, that they gave away less than a quarter of their eligible awarded money this year. So what's in between are typically radio projects and upgrades. I think Polk County got a roof for $100,000. There was $1 million or less for a radio system. I can't remember the county. And yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, by their formula, you would be eligible for over $8 million just in construction. They would also, at least proven in years past, pick up some of the professional services of the architect, and then the bulk of that technology that I mentioned, that would also be eligible. So that $2 million, about 1.6 or so would be eligible
So
for
roughly half
emergency
of it. So
telephone
like
services fund.
Like a 50-50 match or something. So roughly half, you said about 8 here, 1 or 2 there. So about 10 of the 20 that you said?
Yes, and then I would like to look into, or I would encourage the city to look into the possibility of a defense infrastructure grant that would be awarded by the DoD if that was something that could be used to supplement the budget as well.
All right. All right.
So, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
if I may, so when we talk about the county put $30 million into their 911 facility, when we consolidate, because I believe we're going to make this happen, I believe that we're going to come together and consolidate, there's not enough room for us. So we're going to have to build something somewhere, anyway. So they spent that money, they didn't consolidate with us, but there's not room for us to go in it. Yeah, and with this building, they can come with us.
Well, I think there was room. I think this is for future growth or just to make sure there's a backup service. But we can talk about it at that time. You've got a motion on the floor. Any other questions pertaining to this part? And then council, hopefully I'll pose a question to you for setting a date for a future work session on consolidation. All right. You have a question, council member? Oh, all right. Let's vote. Councilmember Banks McLaughlin.
Green.
All right, motion carries. All right, council, you want to try to get that at the next work session, or you want a separate meeting time for that?
If I may, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
I believe it's pertinent that we try to do it within the next 7 days.
Yeah.
How can we fit that in somewhere?
Well, I was kind of asking that, and since we've given permission to have the manager execute the contract, maybe that can be factored into the date, just to make sure that, if you're trying, is that what you're trying to accelerate it to coincide with that? All right. Well, so I guess as soon as possible, the next work session, Jeff, you had some input on that? Yeah.
We'll work with the city clerk to find a time that works for everyone within the next week.
All right.
If that's
Okay.
the council's desire.
Yeah, and as you execute the contract, make sure we take that in consideration.
Is there a motion on the floor specifically so we can have some discussion?
It was just a consensus to tell them to do it like we do work sessions, but
Well,
you
I guess
certainly have recognized.
I was just trying to get clarity then. We have a city council work session. We're all going to be here anyways. Why wouldn't we just do it then?
I'm open to that. That's why I proposed it. So, council, you object to that?
As opposed to trying to find everyone's schedule out, we know we're all going to be here at 2:00 on the 29th.
Any objections to that?
Councilmember Benavente, the work session is October 6th.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I was looking at next Monday. Yeah, October 6th, but we know where we're going to be at 2 o'clock. Can that be the consensus, October 6th?
Yeah,
I mean, we're fine with it.
Can we do that item
I guess
first?
whenever the manager's back, maybe he can just shift some things, but that needs to be a topic because that was what came out of the joint meetings that we had a lot of staff time. Where's Miss Lisa Reed? She did a great job, and Chief Bryant and Chief Dove and a lot of our city side participated with the county to do that work for a few weeks. So we definitely need to hear back from them. But that sounds good. So, Council, I think there's an agreement for that, Mr. Yates. All right. Thank you, Council. Thank you, ladies, for your input and assistance from the Schrader Group.
Certainly.
All
Happy
right.
to assist.
Thank you. All right, Council, moving to 9.02, appeal of sewer assessment. Who's representing this item? Who's presenting this item, Amit?
Is the petitioner here? The Oxendines? I mean, this is their petition
This is their
for
request,
appeal.
right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Winkler and Lauren Brennan Oxidine. All right, well, all right, Council.
Mayor Copeland, may we have a motion to deny then if we're not going to?
Yeah, all right, so it's a motion by Councilmember Green for denial, seconded by Thompson due to no show. All right, Council, I'll look to you for your vote. And this is to deny, so a vote yes is to deny the appeal.
Green.
All right. Councilmember Banks McLaughlin? All right, she said agreed. All right, motion to adjourn. All right.